Yep, now we're in, go for it.
Okay, the board is out of executive session with no action taken.
Yeah.
Now do we
Call for that motion.
call for motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion that Warren County agree to a settlement terms regarding a personnel issue and authorize the chairman, the county administrator, and county attorney to execute all necessary documents.
Do we have a second? Second by Supervisor Connor. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify.
Roll call vote,
You want
please.
a roll call vote? Sure.
1 second.
Hold on.
Okay. Mr. Driscoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier,
Yes.
Mr. Drossy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson,
Yes.
Mr. Merlino,
Yes.
Mr. Stroud,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
No.
Ms. Steck. Yes. Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Conover,
Yes.
Mr. Leggett,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt,
Yes.
Ms. Bramer,
I prefer to abstain because I don't think I have all the information, but I will vote yes.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes,
Okay, that passes with 768 votes in favor.
okay. Any further to report from the county administrator? Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. Thank you.
County attorney, any report?
I have one small matter to report in executive session. and I would ask to defer that to the end of the meeting. It will take less than 5 minutes.
Okay. Reading communications.
Okay, we have the Warren County Auditor's February 2023 list of real property tax corrections processed. A letter from Special Olympics New York stating their appreciation for occupancy tax funding. And then we had the information that was submitted by Darlene McGraw at the February 17th board meeting, which was a statement of the Department of Justice on enforcement of integration mandate of Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act and Olmsted versus LC.
Okay, reading of resolutions.
Proposed resolutions number 122 through 175, as well as 5 proclamations were distributed to the members of the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday, March 14th, which met the requirements of the rules of the board. The proclamations before you are number 7, Mayor Bob Blaze Day, number 8, Women's History Month, number 9, Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, number 10, Autism Awareness Month, and number 11, Child Abuse Prevention Month. There are no floor resolutions this month.
Okay,
So we just have this.
discussion on resolutions. Any public comment on any resolutions? Any board discussion on resolutions? Supervisor Bramer.
Thank you very much. Just give me a second, please, to turn there. This is on the computer usage policy. I just wanted to go through a couple of the provisions in here and ask a couple questions, so I'll try to be as brief as I can. In the policy, it does say all records, including email and voicemail and other messages generated or stored on the computer network are county-owned records. The use of the computer network constitutes that person's consent to the county's right to access and disclose data from the computer network. No employee possesses or should possess any expectation of privacy as to his or her computer network activity and usage while using the county's computer network. I think all of that is information that has been in the policy. Additionally, something that has not changed is the county's computer network shall be used for county business only. Then it says under security, I'm not sure if this is new or not, no employee or agent shall transfer any sensitive computer network data outside the county's computer network without department head approval and only for official business. Then if you go towards the end, it also says violations of this computer usage policy may result in the filing of a criminal complaint against the elected officer. There are also violations for non-elected officers. So I think those are important provisions. I have some questions about under the provision talking about no employee shall transfer any sensitive computer network data outside the network. I'd like to know exactly what sensitive computer network data is. One of my concerns is that I often get emails from department head X announcing certain things, discussing programs, providing information that they'd like to give out to the community. For instance, I get lots of emails from Veterans Affairs about different things that are happening for our veterans. Does that mean that if that information is shared to the community, that I'm going to be subject to criminal complaints filed against me for sharing information out of my computer county email? To that end, when are we going to require all of the county elected officials to use county email addresses? We all have access to a county email address. We all are supposed to be using them for accessing our training responsibilities. That's my understanding anyway. I have a county email that I've been using for several years. And I would ask and encourage all of us to be using our county emails for county business, since it's so important pursuant to this policy. And under the section about the process for the personnel committee, I believe this is all brand new changes to the policy. I don't have any problems with it. It says the personnel committee will approve requests for supervisors to access county data. My one question here is, how does the data that is provided from this process get provided back to the personnel committee and the supervisor who requested it? There's nothing in the procedure that talks about that. Thank you.
Somebody, can we address that?
I don't know if there's.
Supervisor McGowan, you got a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you don't mind, I have to ask Supervisor Bramer. You brought up a point that I caught saying this, and I've kind of brought it up in the meeting before, but it's when transferring any of that information out of the county, correct? You know, could be deemed punishable, pretty much. Is that what it said?
No employee shall transfer any sensitive computer network data outside the county's computer network.
All right, so my question is, if not everyone has a county address email that they're supposed to use, including, I believe we are included in this too, as supervisors, how do we prosecute if they passed on information that they shouldn't have? Because, well, we don't know what they've got. That was the question I brought up in the committee. That I feel what is good for the goose is also good for the gander, is that if we're forcing all the employees to do it, I believe all supervisors and every employee should be doing this. And it got a little uncomfortable in the meeting, and I didn't bring anything up the second time around. Because the same group was in there that put up a fight before. I just have a question is how do we know what information is being passed on if we can't see what is out there? Because there's certain supervisors that don't have a county email. They don't use their county email. It goes to the town, to their town, and then from their town they go. So, you know, to me, it's just another layer of check. So if we're asking all our employees to do that, why can't we? And that's all I wanted to bring up in committee, you know, for legality wise. So what do we do? Do we go and we ask to, you know, if we've seen there's a breach somewhere and we've gone through all our computer stuff, what do? Turn around and go after the other towns to have all their emails, you know, foiled? And I was just trying to make a simplicity out of things, of what we all should be doing and carrying on our oaths and our responsibilities here at the county. Thank you.
Anybody else? Supervisor?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Supervisor Bramer made a very interesting point, and I think it's a matter of semantics. As an example, every time over the last 3 years that I've received a COVID report addressed to county supervisors and county employees, I take the opportunity to share that with a network of businesses, not-for-profits, faith-based organizations, and constituents that I think should know what's happening. They may not have access to county websites or that type of information. So as soon as that comes in, as soon as I read it, I often send out often a big media blast to those organizations. I don't consider that to be sensitive information. I think it's basically upon each of us to, if we have a question as to whether or not it's sensitive, to ask the question of the administrator or the county attorney or the chairman, is this sensitive information? I know that at times, we're kind of given an asterisk and say, don't share this information with the public. So that's my take on the situation.
Supervisor Smith.
So yeah, from what I'm hearing here, that there seems to be an inability to determine what's sensitive and what's not. Maybe, and Ben's covered that a little bit. Perhaps the simplest way to do it is if it's sensitive in the email title, put sensitive right there. That way you're gonna know. That way everybody knows.
Supervisor Bramer.
I completely agree with that. I think that's a great suggestion because often we get emails from the county attorney that say attorney-client privilege, this is confidential. Obviously, that shouldn't be shared. But there's lots of other things that, why shouldn't we provide this information to the public? These are county records. We work for the public. Unless it says confidential or sensitive, I think it should be accessible to the public. And I don't want to be subject to a criminal penalty for sending out an email that says whatever, and then this board decides to come after me because I did that.
You're right.
I don't want that. I don't want that for any of us. That's ridiculous.
Supervisor Beatty.
Sorry.
Thank you. I concur with Supervisor from Glens Falls and Queensbury. We often see confidential earmarked down there, especially from the county attorney and from the county administrator at times and so forth. If I don't see that, then to me, it's not sensitive. But more, just as importantly, is every document is foilable. Now, some get redacted and so forth, but every document is foilable. If we, if we're going to try to beat each other up on semantics on sensitive or not, I think if an individual puts confidential, whatever, that's indicating to that supervisor or director that they feel it's sensitive and it shouldn't be shared. Okay, that doesn't mean it can't be foiled, but it means it can't be. It shouldn't be shared. I'm for more transparency, but it really bothers me when we have county email addresses for everyone in this room and they don't use them. They don't use them. So now that's skirting the whole intent of this proposal, of this resolution. It's skirting it. I want a commitment today that every single supervisor on this board will use a county email address. Otherwise, they are skirting the actual language in this proposal. So can I get a commitment? And we'll go around the room who doesn't have them. I think we all know, but I want a commitment from every supervisor who does not use county email addresses. Who uses either a private email address or a town email address. That is skirting this whole thing. Does anybody not see that? So can I get a commitment from each of the supervisors? Could we go around the room and ask those supervisors who do use a county email address currently that they will? And then maybe I could support this.
Supervisor Conover.
Yeah. These regulations, which, oh, by the way, are, I think, over 2 years in the making. Were an effort on the part of the committee to put in place rules as to how one can access the IT department and the records that exist within the IT department. They have little to do with the free-flowing exchange of information that happens between county departments and whatever. And if you want to read that into some of these provisions, well, then maybe that's information that could have been brought to the committee and we could have perhaps tweaked something here or there. The reason this was put in place was to create some rules to the road where none existed as to how anyone a supervisor, anyone accesses information that exists within the IT department. I think that the county attorney and the committee, I think, have done an admirable job of putting together some rules to the road. That's why that's here. As for any other issue, in terms of the use of county email addresses or how much review or use of a particular email exists. Those issues, if you feel they're important issues, you can bring them to the appropriate committee and we'll vet them and we'll talk about them and we'll look at what other places do and we'll be happy to do that.
Should I hit committee?
I've yet to receive anything in writing from any, I don't believe the committee has received anything in writing from any supervisor relative to that issue. And I would encourage any supervisor that has specific thoughts on this, perhaps can recite other counties and other things that exist in other areas that would make for better government here in Warren County, to put that in writing and send it to the appropriate committee. That's where it appropriately belongs. It may belong in front of more than one committee. I don't know. But these rules are there, were developed specifically to guide how we access information within our IT department, where apparently no rules existed. And it's a problem. And it's a problem. And that's the purpose of the legislation in front of you. Now, the rules in front of you. Now, if nothing is cast in stone, if a month from today, as somebody's got a better idea or something feels a paragraph in here needs to be modified or whatever, I can tell you as a member of the appropriate laws and rules committee, I'd be happy to consider that revision at any point in time in the future. So taking a long time here. I mean, it's been well over 2 years in the making. If we have to wait another 2 years, well, then I guess we have to wait another 2 years, I guess, to have reasonable rules that protect documents within this county that create due process for the acquisition and the distribution of those documents. Apparently, there are those that are not keen on that. And I guess they'll vote no. And but as far as the other issues, use of county email addresses or any other issue, please put it in writing. So we know exactly what you're communicating, why you're communicating it, any examples that you might have. And I, for one, would be happy to take a look at it, as I know the balance of the committee would be. Thank you.
Supervisor Beatty. We
Thank
have
you.
three, Supervisor Beatty, Supervisor McGowan, Supervisor Stroud. Go ahead.
Well, I'll let Mr. Stroud go first, seeing that he hasn't spoken on this issue yet.
Yes, thank you.
You will.
In regards to sensitive materials, I think it's understood that we're talking about HIPAA, attorney-client privilege. We're talking about those items that would fall under executive session. And there's, those would be the obvious confidential things, and they would be listed as such confidential. As far as the email, it doesn't accomplish anything. The committee dealt with that issue multiple times, brought to us by the same people. And it didn't accomplish anything. It doesn't accomplish any more openness. It doesn't accomplish any more transparency. It doesn't accomplish any limitations for foilability. It didn't accomplish it. So we were resistant to that thought. However, as Supervisor Conover pointed out, this law, which we absolutely need to put in place, it's been too long now, is open to amending as we go through and we see any issues or further clarifications, but we need a starting point. So what I would ask for your support for this today keeping in mind we can amend it as we go forward. Thank you.
Supervisor McGowan, are you gonna?
Yeah, I'll
Field
go
of
after McGowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wow. You know, those are some great political speeches there going. I have to say, I disagree. I was at that meeting. And I will admit, I kind of lost my cool a little because of the answers that we got. All right. And it was pretty much told to me, I've never had one and I'm never going to get an email. All right, which we all have, them, and I'm not going to use them. And that's a shame to say. Well, I didn't bring it up at the second meeting because the first meeting, it was going to be discussed and they were going to look into it. So I kind of sat back and just, you know, write it out to see if it was going to be brought up. I don't know why I need to put things in writing when I'm sitting there on my own time, sitting not on the committee, but being there at every committee, because I fully believe that if you're going to speak up at this board meeting against other supervisors and for what you believe in and standing up for the people, then you might as well go to committee and speak your mind there first, because I'm not coming in with a snowball fight here. I brought this up and it was pretty much shut down because, well, maybe because I brought it up. I'm not the smartest cookie here, all right? But I have a lot of common sense and I got a lot of street smarts out there, all right? So you can throw snowballs if you want, all right? And skirt this issue and speak well politically, all right? But there's no reason why we don't use the Wilson County email, and you could do whatever you want with it after that. But at least it shows the direction of where that mail is going to. That's the only thing I have against this policy. I believe it is needed. Right? But if it's needed for our employees, it's also needed for our supervisors. Thank you.
Their baby. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to follow up, so my supervisor from Queensway, Mr. Trout, says, well, it doesn't accomplish anything by having the county email address and so forth. Well, then why not have it? That makes no sense at all. Why not everyone have a county email address? If it doesn't make any difference, why aren't you using one? It's because you have the ability to skirt the purpose of this whole resolution. Those who do not use a county email address have the ability to skirt it, this whole thing, and we all know that. So let's not act like we don't know that. So I will propose amending it so that every single supervisor has to use a county email address. That shouldn't be a problem if everybody's in for the openness. If everybody really wants this transparency, which I want, why would they fight against that? That makes no sense at all unless they obviously don't want that transparency and want a secret backdoor way to get information and to bypass the system. So, excuse me, supervisors. Thank you. So that and I think we've ironed out the secret or confidential. I think that's easily solved. I don't have a problem with that. As I said, the county attorney often puts confidential and so does the county administrator. And that's fine. I've often put on my emails, share as much as you want. I go out of my way to say, share it, spend it to whoever you want. I'm fine with that. So I look forward to amending this resolution to making sure that everyone uses a county email address and not some bypassing system, a private email address or a town email address, which we all know is bypassing this whole intent. Thank you.
Do we need a second on that?
Any other discussions on this?
So I'm making that motion to amend this
You're
motion,
making a motion to amend?
to amend
I'm gonna
it.
second it.
We have a motion made to amend resolution.
To make sure that all
What's the resolution
use a
number?
county email
What's
address.
the resolution?
144. And I'd like a roll call vote on it.
And
We
for
have a motion,
clarification,
second discussion.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Super.
Thanks. I did want to note that as the chair of the committee acknowledged, these issues were raised at committee. The committee chose to reject them. And I did want to note that I have been asking for numerous times, several committees about the video conferencing law. That's in the minutes from the November meeting of that committee. And that was rejected also by the committee. So I have little confidence that if we go back to the committee with this amendment, that they are going to consider it. They've already considered it and rejected it. So I'm going to support the motion here to have a vote by the full board as to whether or not we amend the policy to have each supervisor using a county provided email for county business. Thanks.
Supervisor Conover.
Yeah. Once again, if you have a proposal, put it in writing. Put it in writing so that we can have our legal department look at it. Put it in writing so that we can understand it. You know, what specifically are you saying? What type of correspondence? At what point in time? I mean, there's no detailing here. Now, I have, along with the good chairman of the committee, these past 2 years made no effort to bring anyone's name or any of the events that took place relative to the access to the IT department or the efforts to try to access any other information that existed in any other places on the part of anyone. From day one, I provided, I don't know, 13-point recommendation to the then county administrator to try to create some rules to the road so that we have good government, good responsible government, that people are protected, that they're processed, that we have good due process, that if there are claims that are made, that those claims need to be brought through the appropriate channels, not handled individually on the part of anyone, because they think they're on the side of truth, justice, and the American way. And that's what this is about. This is about good government. So I would say to my colleagues, if you have something you want to put in writing, put it in, you want to propose, put it in writing. So that we can raise the questions that have to be raised in committee, so that we can properly vet this. So that we know what it is that you want us to vote on today. Because we don't know what you want us to vote on today. We don't know what it is that you expect from us. And that's my point. So put it in writing, send it to us with as much detail as you can, and let's move on. But this amendment, this needs to be passed. This needs to be passed, because without this, there are no rules to the road. Without this, anyone can utilize their position to access information that's otherwise protected. We might very well have had, it protected.
You gotta stop.
Yes.
I am. You made, the supervisor made his comments about the motion. Now he's moving on to the substance of the policy. This debate should just be about the amendment regarding the email policy for county supervisors.
I am talking about the motion.
Go ahead, finish your comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for that ruling. It is the correct rule. Look, some people may be uncomfortable. And believe me when I tell you, there are people in this room that can make it a lot more uncomfortable. This is about good government. This is about having rules to the road so that our employees know that information that needs to be protected is correctly protected. Mr. Stroud recited a whole list, and there's a lot more that can be recited. So this proposed amendment, this should be summarily defeated. Put it in writing, put it in front of us.
Supervisor Stroud, you've had your,
Yes, thank you. So any communication that occurs via email, whether it's John S@warrencounty.newyork.gov, or whether it's QBYsupervisor@queensberry.net, there's no difference. All that email that goes back and forth between me and the county dealing with county is spoilable. It's open for public review. Forcing me to add another layer of email, such as John S@warrencounty.newyork.gov, doesn't do anything. all the emails going to me now, back and forth, are all foilable, are all available to the public. So what I've said over and over again is the proposal for all of us to use Warren County email doesn't really accomplish anything other than giving another layer of email. But it doesn't make government more open. It doesn't make government any less transparent by allowing us to have our current emails, as long as it's established that those are the emails that when you correspond back and forth with the county, they are going to be available to the public. That's understood. So I'm just saying that proposing something that doesn't accomplish anything is not something I'm in favor of. Thank
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. I'm gonna call for a roll. Roll call.
Supervisor, could I just ask
Yes.
one, just to clarify before the vote occurs, if the supervisor from Queensberry would agree to amend the motion, and specifically that if it is approved, it would go into the policy under section 2, Internet Policy Provisions, sub A, Management and Administration, as a new paragraph 19, which would read, all county supervisors shall use only county email addresses when conducting county business. I just want to make sure we have specific language that's being voted on before the board votes.
That's to me, right?
Yeah.
Counselor? Yes, and I'd approve that.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Let's vote.
Chairman, because I've got the first vote, I just got to be clear on something. I actually support the use of the company, the county email address. But I also support the original resolution. I want to make sure that when I first joined the board, every resident in the Fifth Ward got one of my business cards. I continue to get a majority of my emails to my old email address, including some county departments that continue to send to my personal email address. And so I'll respond or reply to that using my personal email address. I want to make sure that I'm not, getting in trouble by doing that. People are resistant to change, if I change my telephone number, I'm going to be getting a ton of phone calls at my old telephone number.
We need to vote, we need to
so-
vote then. Okay, roll call vote.
And this is on the motion to amend resolution 144. Mr. Driscoll,
Yes,
Mrs. Frazier,
Yes.
Mr. Drossy,
This needs to be just flushed out one more time. We're voting on,
an amendment to resolution 144, which would include a requirement that all supervisors need to use a county email, issue
okay,
email.
and we're not voting on the policy.
No, this is an amendment to the policy.
Okay. I heard no compelling reason that this change would make the significant difference. I vote no.
Mr. Smith,
No.
Mr. Dickinson,
No.
Mr. Merlino,
No.
Mr. Stroud,
No.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Definitely, yes. Anybody voting no?
Okay.
Ms. Steck,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
No.
Mr. Conover,
No.
Mr. Leggett,
No.
Mr. McDevitt, Ms. Bramer,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno,
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
No.
Okay, that motion fails. There are only 404 votes in favor, so the resolution remains as it's presented in writing.
All right. Any other discussions on resolutions? Supervisor Bramer.
Thank you very much. This is something I wanted to say before the motion was called regarding the good government and our policy to add another layer. I mean, I know it's inconvenient. I already have 1 million email addresses too, and I know you guys do as well as town supervisors. But it is important for good government and good policy here at the county, because the policy also says that the county administrator and the FOIL officer can respond to FOILs and discovery requests and other needs to get into our county emails without asking us. They cannot do that without you guys providing access to a town email address. I think that's bad government policy.
Amen.
If it's a county email and county stuff happening, And they need to be able to get into our emails to do whatever. I know that's happening. It's all foilable and it's all open. But that doesn't happen when we have private and town email addresses being used for county government. I am fine supporting the policy and I'll try again at committee. I'll put something in writing and it better well pass.
Cool.
You guys said you're all about good government. Let's make it happen through the committee process.
I mean, what,
Supervisor.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, what this is about is that you have to have more cause than questioning somebody's loyalty to rifle through somebody's computer. You have to have more than some idea of that you have some kind of authority that says that you can rifle through the emails of supervisor. We have protected documents that include social security numbers, that include HIPAA information, that include child protective services, that include so many protected pieces of information. I might add also that also exists at the municipal level. That also exists at the municipal level. So I would say, I welcome the communication. It will need to be specific in terms of what communications you're talking about. Are you talking about the communications between one supervisor and another supervisor? Are you talking about communications of a supervisor to a constituent? Are you talking about the communications of a supervisor to anyone else on the planet? I mean, you want big government, you want big brother. How far do you want your big brother? As Mr. Strauss, Supervisor Strauss correctly pointed out, there isn't a computer that exists in the municipal level that cannot be foiled. Every one of them can be foiled.
Right.
And, and I think that it's important to understand that, once that information is dumped onto your computer, it's no longer under the umbrella protection of Warren County. We don't know what protections exist on your computer. We don't know who has access to your computer. And so today, when we vote on this, what we're voting on is good government. What we're voting on here is creating some rules to the road. Perfect? Nothing is perfect, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Definitely a step in the right direction that has taken us almost 2 years to get to this point. Is pretty incredible in and of itself. Thank you.
Last word on this resolution. Mr. Beatty.
We're having discussion on the actual resolution, correct?
Yeah.
That's okay. So it's as simple as it gets for me. Why people would fight having a county email address is beyond me, other than to go around backdoor to any type of communication. So when we have a supervisor give the pledge of allegiance and say, hey, this is great government and so forth. But I'm going to exclude myself and my email address from the county, as well as some other ones. I'm okay with me excluding me, but everybody else, this is good government. That's what I'm going to talk about, good government. Come on, it's all becoming a farce. I mean, what's so hard about having a county email address? For those who voted against it, what's so hard about that? Isn't that part of your responsibility as an elected official to have a county email address? And for you to vote against that? It becomes comical. So I'll be voting no against this until it's the same for every single supervisor in this room. It's a farce.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I do,
Okay, but
I have
it's brief.
I will. I believe that the supervisor from Queensberry convolutes this whole issue. We all have the county email. We do use them. We also have the town emails. They're often used as well, which is totally legitimate, and they are all foilable. I think much ado about nothing is being made of this issue.
We need to vote. Too many people are leaving. We're not going to have quorums. We need to vote on the resolution. Supervisor Thomas.
I have a county email.
Thank you, Frank.
If you want to send an email to me, send it to him. But I'll tell you right now, I don't answer my loyalty to Supervisor Beatty or anybody else around this board. So don't sit here and try to intimidate me and tell me that I'm corrupt or I'm going back door and all this kind of crap, because I'm not going to put up with that. I don't answer. I answer to to the voter in Stony Creek. Period.
Okay, let's vote. Do we have any other discussion on resolution, any other resolution? Do you have another resolution?
Well, I just wanted,
No,
one thing on this
we're done
resolution.
discussing on this resolution.
I'm not going back, talk about all the hot air that just blew around. I wanted to state why I'd be voting no. Do I wait until,
You can say it when you vote.
okay, thank you.
Okay, let's, Mr.
I conferred with the co-chair of the ARPA committee, and without objection, I'd like to ask that we batch resolutions 124, 25, 26, 27, and 28 and 29 together.
I get you. I get you. Right. Okay, we have that. Okay. Supervisor Thomas,
Do I have a roll call on 131?
131, roll call on 131. Any other roll call votes?
I just want to clarify, everyone has a county email address, okay? They don't all,
We
they're
talked, we don't,
not listed.
out of order. Let's vote on the resolutions.
We'll put it all right.
Other discussion on any other resolution? Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Batch a couple of these together.
Okay. So before we vote, can we just back up for a second? When you came out of executive and Mr. Leggett made the motion to introduce the resolution approving the settlement terms, I failed to have the chairman request a waiving of the rules. So can we just do that formality?
I will request we waive the rules. We have a motion by Supervisor McGowan, second by Supervisor Stroud to waive rules. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carry.
Okay, so the waiving of the rules is actually resolution 176 and the resolution approving the settlement agreement terms will be 177.
Okay. Vote on resolution.
Here, all right. Resolution 122, making supplemental appropriations. Mr. Driscoll?
Yes.
Mr. Drossy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Ms. Steck? Yes. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Conover?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Chairman Garrity?
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 123, amending Warren County budget for 2023. Mr. Driscoll?
Yes.
Mr. Drossy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Ms. Steck? Yes. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Conover?
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Chairman Garrity?
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. The next one is for resolutions 124 through 129, all relating to ARPA disbursements. Mr. Driscoll?
Yes.
Mr. Drossy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Ms. Steck? Yes. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Conover?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Chairman Garrity?
Yes.
Okay, all of those passed with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 131. Adopting draft Warren County Domestic Terrorism Prevention Plan. Mr. Driscoll?
Yes.
Mr. Drossy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Ms. Steck? Yes. Mr. Thomas?
No.
Here, Mr. Conover?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Chairman Garrity?
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes. What, no, that 130 isn't a roll call. Sorry. Okay, resolution 158. Amending the table of organization in Warren County Salary and Compensation Plan to adjust salary of positions in the Warren County Attorney's Office.
Are we having a roll call on 144?
No one requested a roll call for 144.
I don't
Would you like
believe
one?
the chairman asked for any roll calls on any specific resolutions, but I will take this opportunity to ask for a roll call on 144.
Okay, there's one.
Okay.
Ooh, good catch.
Quick.
Okay, which one are we voting on?
We're gonna go backwards. We're gonna do 144. I'm just setting up the roll call for a second. Wasn't requested.
Okay.
Yes. 144. Okay. Resolution 144, that's adopting the computer use policy. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes. Yes.
Rao,
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
On this resolution, I will be voting no, not for the adopted policy. Because I have reviewed it and I've been through the meetings. It's really an excellent job. I am voting no for the amendment not going through and being able to say I am ashamed that the other supervisors don't see the simplicity of what has been asked here by using a county email that we're asking all the employees to do. It's pretty simple, and if you're not doing it, then it sounds like you're skirting, and that's not good government. So I'm a no. Thank you.
Mr. Beatty.
I'll also be voting no until all the supervisors in this room actually use a county email address. So unfortunately, it'll have to be a no.
Ms. Deck. Yes. Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
I'm a no for the same reason Supervisor McGowan.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution passes with 584 votes in favor. Resolution 158, amending the table of organization in Warren County Salary and Compensation Plan to adjust salary of positions within the county attorney's office, Office of Emergency Services, and the Public Defender's Office. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Steph.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 159, amending table of organization in Warren County Salary and Compensation Plan to create positions within the Public Defender's Office and the Department of Social Services. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Mrs. Steck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 162, authorizing appropriation of funds from the election equipment reserve to the Board of Elections budget. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Steck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 163, authorizing annual appropriation of funds from the election equipment reserve to the Board of Elections budget to fund the lease of Dominion voting machines. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Steck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
The machines have to go. No.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
I do like. the
Mr.
old one.
McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 807 votes in favor. Resolution 164, authorizing appropriation of funds from the general fund unappropriated fund balance to the Department of Public Works budget to cover the cost of an increase in funding for the Countryside Adult Home Project. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Ms. Steck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 165, increasing capital project H 406 Countryside Adult Home. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yeah.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Deck. Yes. Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 166, establishing budget code A 918, assigns sexual abuse lawsuits. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Deck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 167, authorizing appropriation of funds from various budget codes to the general fund unappropriated surplus balance in order to fund the newly created reserved A 918. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Deck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yeah.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 168, establishing capital project H 409 Warren County Culvert Assessments and Asset Management Plan. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Deck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 169, establishing capital project H 425 Adirondack Bridge and Beaver Pond Bridge replacements. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yeah.
Mr. Beatty.
Yep.
Mr. Stuck. I'm sorry, Ms. Stuck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 170, increasing capital project H 322 Palisades Road over Brant Lake Inlet Bridge. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yeah.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Steck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 171, increasing capital project H 393 Johnsburg Bridges. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yeah.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Steck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 172, authorizing the reappropriation of funds from the occupancy tax reserve to the tourism budget. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yeah.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Steck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 173, authorizing appropriation of funds from the occupancy tax reserve to the tourism budget. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty.
Yep.
Ms. Steck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. Resolution 175, authorizing appropriation of funds from the general fund unappropriated fund balance to the planning and community development budget. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Mr. Drossy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Merlino.
Yes.
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mr. McGowan.
Yes.
Mr. Beatty.
Yes.
Ms. Steck.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Conover.
Yes.
Mr. Leggett.
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt.
Yes.
Ms. Bramer.
Yes.
Chairman Garrity.
Yes.
Resolution passes with 819 votes in favor. We just need a collective vote on the rest.
You have a question first?
Do we have a roll call on 177?
No. You like one? You want one?
No, thank you.
Then just the collective vote on the rest.
All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Okay, we'll open this up to any public comment? Anybody would address the board, please step up to their microphone. Yep. And state your name for the record. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Adam Levine. I'm here because I'm partnering with NISAC, New York State Association of Counties, on a new initiative. And so I wanted to just let you know about it in person. So I'm a professor at Johns Hopkins. I actually drove up from Baltimore. I am working with another professor from Cornell, as well as with Mark Levine and Ryan Gougra at New York State Association of Counties. And what this initiative is designed to do is to sort of better connect research and policy at the county level, especially on any sort of child and family related policy issues. So, for example, I know a lot of folks were talking about sort of mental health. That's a topic that we've been in communication with folks from other counties with quite a bit. Just as one example, personnel is another common one we've been asked about. But anyway, I have a handout that I'm not quite sure what the appropriate procedure for that is, but just has an overview of just sort of how it works. But basically, we normally send emails. I'll try to find the right emails, but send emails. But just to as outreach, but I like to just sort of come and introduce myself in person first. And then we do a quick phone call just to learn about whatever topic related to child and family policy is that you're sort of facing and thinking about. And then we produce a research brief as quickly as possible. And I try to only visit a small number of counties at a time, just so that we can sort of really respond as quickly as possible, because we know the timeliness is really important. So anyway, that's it. The service is completely free. Our work is funded by the William T. Grant Foundation, which is a private foundation that is very much committed to linking research and research and policy at the county level more strongly. And so beyond those, yeah. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so beyond this is just one page with me and my partner in crime, who's a researcher at Cornell, Elizabeth Day, and also just a summary of everything I just said. And again, I'll just say, I actually used to be a professor at Cornell before the pandemic, and so I'm no stranger to upstate New York. And love the snow. Glad that the snowstorm from Tuesday did not cancel this meeting. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm happy to take questions. I'm not sure if that's appropriate, but I'll also be here until the end. So thank you so much.
Does anybody have any questions? We could certainly get this to the proper committee and discuss it next week. Hopefully get it to the department heads.
Oh, we are happy to speak with both supervisors as well as administrators as well. So our commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the board?
I'd just like to take a moment to say thank you to everyone.
State your name for.
You don't know who I am? Come on. I know, I'm sorry. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Hal Halliday, legal name Harold Halliday. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to the people that helped us get through the ARPA committee process for the fire company. I think I can say thank you from the other fire companies and organizations that the ARPA committee was able to help. Since there's a couple of town supervisors in the room, I'd like you to please remember that when the volunteers come to you in your organizations, the equipment that you give them makes it worthwhile for them to volunteer. I can't tell you how much it means to be able to take a piece of equipment that we could depend on and go out and help our neighbors. With us getting on a new hovercraft, we know that we're going to be able to get out there and save somebody someday. So when they come to you for help, please keep in the back of your mind that the volunteers are keeping this going. You see what's going on with the EMS services and the training that these people require. We're worried in the fire service what's going to happen when we can't get enough volunteer firefighters. And I can't even imagine the financial challenges that will be to all our local towns. Please keep that in mind, okay? The EMS people have to do so much training, recertification, requalifications. They can't do that in their jobs and their families and be a volunteer. That's why they're getting paid, some of them now. We don't want that to happen to the fire service. We want it to stay volunteer. And I've had a few decades with my brother fireman, and all we want is the equipment. Give us the equipment we need to provide services to our county residents. Thank you very much. Have a safe time, and I'm not going to discuss the emails. You can send me an email if you want from any place. I don't care. Okay, have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Hal.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address the board?
Appreciate it. No, hey.
Announcements. I know the basketball tournament's going on, so I ask everybody who likes basketball, even if you don't like it, go down and support the city of Glens Falls and the restaurants and see some good high school basketball in the next 3 days. Supervisor,
So go Chairman.
anybody else? Any other announcements?
Try to do my report without going into executive session.
Okay.
It's very simple and very short. It's a chapter 11 bankruptcy action in Colorado on the San Luis and Rio Grande Railroad. They are the 100% owner of the, or were the, in the process of not being 100% owner of the Saratoga North Creek Railroad. We received last week what the plan is from the bankruptcy court, and it's a public record. It provides the county of Warren $0.00 as an unsecured creditor. The plan states that there's close to $11 million of unsecured claims that will not be paid under the plan because there's not enough assets. It's my intention to take no action on this, meaning not vote for approval of the plan. If there's any supervisors who have questions or concern with that position, I would recommend we have a motion to go into executive session. Absent a motion for executive session, my office will move forward and take no further action regarding that bankruptcy matter. As it appears clear from the plan, there's no assets to pay the claim that has been allowed of $78,329.83.
Any discussions for the county attorney? Any other announcements? Motion to adjourn. Supervisor Dixon, thank you.